Please.
Burns.
Yes.
Chartrand.
Here.
King.
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
LaChaux.
Here.
Clayman.
Yes.
Mowerhand. Here. Mosier.
Here.
Osborne.
Here.
Dahlhoff.
Here. I do not have an invocation tonight, so would we all please rise and take the flag to the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The April 2nd meeting minutes have been distributed. They stand approved unless someone has a correction. Report of the Finance and Rules Committee per Rule 6. Terry?
The Finance and Rules Committee have met and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions.
With a motion by Ron, second by Tom. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Privilege of the floor. Start with Joan.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank the board for acting so quickly in my request to fill the vacancy of the Assistant County Attorney position. And I wanted the board members who haven't met him yet to meet him tonight. Matthew Gettle is here. He's the new Assistant County Attorney. He's got experience in the DA's office in Jefferson County and the Attorney General's office, and as a private practitioner. And I can tell you the first day he started, he jumped right in and was in court every day that week. So I just want you all to know that we made a good choice, and I thank you for supporting my office in making that choice.
And I'd like to thank Joan, and good evening, and it's a pleasure seeing all these faces, and I hope that I live up to the excellent words that Joan's described my performance thus far, and I continue to carry out those duties.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Welcome aboard, Matt.
Thank you.
And good luck working with Joan. Anyone else for privilege of the floor? If not, we'll move on to presentations of communications and notices.
We have a letter from former legislator Phil Hathaway addressed to the board. From personal experience, I know the hospital to be a high-quality facility with high-quality employees as well. It is definitely an asset to the whole county. This is written regarding recent actions by hospital management that affect myself and many others. I mean no disrespect to the incoming physician, but I feel the recent staffing changes hospital management made at the Harrisville Clinic are not in everyone's best interest. The numbers have consistently shown that our community is very happy and loyal to our current provider. She started here with a very minimal patient base and has built it into one consistently at or above budgeted levels. This was at no small benefit to the hospital. As a reward, hospital management, perhaps in self-interest, chose to pull her away from the clinic she built up, the patients she loves and whom love her right back. I don't believe hospital management has treated Harrisville, Brittany Bickle, or especially her patients like family, as the slogan says. Far from it, in fact. Thank you for your time, Phil Hathaway. A letter from the Town of Diana Supervisor, David Perot. On April 18th, hospital CEO Jerry Kerr informed him of a decision that had been made by the hospital that Dr. Shambo would be taking over the Harrisville Clinic within the next 30 days. Mr. Kerr stated this move is needed to make hospital compliant with New York State, that a physician assistant had to be on the same campus as the supervising physician. Mr. Kerr informed him this is not a new law. Mr. Crow said, I have done some inquiring and believe there are other ways to fulfill the law. The hospital and the Town of Diana have a contract for the building but the hospital has the right to operate the clinic as they see fit. As a town board, we are not pleased that we were not given the consideration to be part of a decision that impacts our community as heavily as this does. A large portion of our population are senior citizens. It appears the hospital is not concerned that the people from our community that have been using the Harrisville Clinic may now have to travel to Lowville to continue with physician assistant Bickle, as she has been their provider for many years. We would hope that these issues are resolved by considering the impact on the community and not only the benefits of the hospital. Respectfully, David Perot, Town Supervisor. Turin Ridge Riders President Christopher Skipper submitted a written request for the board's assistant to support proposed legislation introduced by Assemblypersons Blankenbush and Santa Barbara with a goal to provide landowners who allow snowmobile trails on their property to receive a tax credit. On behalf of the Lewis County Ethics Board, Secretary Kevin McCardle reports they have reviewed all disclosure statements and did not identify any ethics law violations. Mr. Timothy O'Connor has submitted his resignation from the Lewis County Ethics Board effective April 30, 2019. On behalf of New York State DEC Commissioner Sagos, Acting Regional Director Randall Young acknowledged receipt and relayed that the Lewis County Board's comments would be considered as they prepare the draft update of the Pepperbox Wilderness Unit Management Plan. New York State Assembly Minority Leader Brian Kolb and Assemblypersons Ortiz and Colton had each acknowledged receipt and applauded the board's initiative to oppose state legislation for a blanket restriction and ban on hunting competitions involving the taking of wildlife. The board acknowledges receipt of resolutions enacted by several county legislatures on several different issues that this legislature already addressed. And that would conclude.
Thank you, Terry. Reports of county officers and departments.
Legislators have each received copies of the Treasurer's April report, the April Highway and Solid Waste Audit reports, minutes of the April 24 Youth Bureau Advisory Board and March 12 Community Services Board meetings, and the apportionment of mortgage tax report for the period October 1, 18 to March 31, 19. James Richmeyer has submitted his February, March, and April Sealer Weights and Measures activity reports that have been placed on file in my office. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Reports of standing committees. Brian, would you like to start with finance and rules?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Not really much to report. I did want to bring up one thing though, with I've been getting emails from the local review board for the Adirondack Park Association. There's a huge push going on for the environmental groups to ban ATVs throughout any part of the park. That means, which I know that most of we can't go on the state fire trails or anything now, but I think that they're a complete ban completely they're trying to push for. So that would include easement lanes and everything. So I also have a motion here. I have a motion to authorize County Manager Ryan Cachet to travel to Washington, D.C. June 10th through the 12th, 2019 to join Jefferson and St. Louis County officials to accept the Great American Defense Community Award on behalf of Lewis County.
Moved by Brian, second by Dick. Discussion. In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Question for Brian? Thank you, Brian. Jerry, General Services Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to authorize Building and Ground Supervisor Matt O'Connor to advertise for proposals for repointing the brick on the old courthouse building. I'd like to make that a motion, and I guess the other question is what we're doing, one, do you think we ought to get it for the jail, on the walls that need to be done up there too?
I would have to take a look at those, but I believe that building is in much better shape than what this is.
Well, but they're listed in the write-up that it needs to be tuck pointed, so if we're gonna hire one, we might as well consider doing that too, I guess where I'm going.
Mr. Chairman, you need a second to that.
I would like to.
Right, may I have a second, please, Dick? So, do we want to amend your proposal to include the
I would like to include
jail
it,
or
it's already been listed in the proposal.
PSB if it's deemed necessary by Matt, or how do you want to?
Well, Bernie and Carter said it was, so we paid the money for it, so.
Okay, someone, well, I need someone to offer an amendment to that effect, then, I guess. You want to amend it, Jerry?
Yeah, I'll make an amendment to that effect.
So do I have a second on the amendment, so we have discussion on the amendment?
I'm sorry, who was the second on the amendment?
Dick.
Dick, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just comment for a second. Jerry's right, there is, in the Bernier and Carr report, talk about some of the brickwork at the PSB. We budgeted $50,000 for the courthouse repointing. We didn't put in the budget or anticipate doing the jail, the PSB building as well, but we could, in theory, use contingency or go to the capital fund for that portion. And I forget what the budget amount was, the Bernie and Carr amount for that. I
Once
don't
we
have it on.
get an estimate of what that's gonna cost, we might be able to find the money. If they're here and we can afford to, we might be better off having them do both. So that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of the amendment, or proposed amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Now, we're to the original motion. Any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. And then I have another one, but we're gonna have, the executive session.
Right.
So we'll discuss that next one in executive session,
And then when we come out, we'll vote on
whatever we
that.
decide to do.
Okay.
That's all, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Any questions for Gary? Thank you, Gary. Greg, Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have much to report. Everybody was pretty much at all the committee meetings. It's been very well. It's actually very good. I only have two motions. So I have a motion to authorize Social Service Commissioner Jennifer Jones to refill a social service program examiner effective immediately due to the resignation.
Moved by Greg, second by John. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I have a motion to authorize advertising a request for proposal for the Office of the Aging for a registered dietitian and nutritionist services specialist.
Moved by Greg, second by John. Discussion. Olivia. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg. Dick, the hospital board managers.
Sure. I'm glad that Brian, Jerry, and Greg were quick, because I only got 5 pages here. I'll say it quickly.
Hand me the last 4, would you?
I'll go through quickly.
Doesn't mean we give you permission to do all 5.
Oh, yeah. These things on, there we go. Employee of the month for March was Rick James Burgess. He's a custodial worker, and if you see Rick around the hospital, congratulate him for Employee of the Month for March. The auxiliary has their geranium and herbs sale going on now. You can order that at the gift shop until May 17th. Pickup will be May 20th, 21st at the Lloyd Nichols building at the fairgrounds. They have some really good geraniums, and I've used them for years on the cemetery to remember our loved ones, and highly recommend the support of that program. The cupcake sale took in $532 for the auxiliary. Popcorn sales made $4,752. And uniform sales, they took in $1,667. And the chocolate covered cherry sale, $3,051. Hospital has redone their committee structure. There'll be a committee night now, similar to our committee afternoon and evening. The board meetings will also change, and for the most part, they'll be the fourth Wednesday of the month, beginning in June. However, the May board meeting will be the fifth Wednesday, which is May 25th. We had a gain of $115,000 for March compared to the budgeted gain of $188, so our gain was a little bit less. But we had some outstanding use. Our acute admissions was the highest in almost 5 years, and what we're seeing is we have to combine our acute and our observations to get a total picture, because things have changed. We have a lot of observations now. We get a little less money, but it's the same type of people. So the two combined was the highest of all time that we've ever had. Our OR surgeries are the highest that we've had in 8 years. Our ER admissions, second highest in 3 years. South Louis Healthcare, highest in 2 years. Extended hours clinic, second highest all time. Dr. Quickless, and I jokingly suggest we should clone her sometimes, but she had 549 visits. Outstanding performance there so far as I'm concerned. South Louis School, second highest all time. Dermatology had the highest all time. Lastly, a note on the Harrisville Center. Mr. Carabrith, the hospital, at our meeting, that it will soon be staffed by Dr. Brian Shamble, which is a full-time doctor in that area. There was some issue with a PA operating without the supervising physician on grounds. This also should be an improvement and an upgrade for the people of Harrisville. They haven't had a full-time doctor, to my knowledge, in that community in a long time. So he should be able to offer a lot of stuff. Preliminary results, the first week was, he was very busy, and everybody seemed to come in and congratulate him for being there. He will see patients up there Monday, Thursday, and Fridays, 8 to 5, and on Tuesday from 10 to 7. That concludes my 5 pages.
Any questions for Dick? Thank you, Dick.
Okay.
County manager report, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A bit of good news. Andrea and a few other interested legislators have been involved in a process to try to bring back, well, Dick Chartrand's been on this for, since I got here, to try to bring back CDL testing to Lewis County, something that we have not been able to offer for quite some time now. Now that the IDA is in possession of the Climax building, the Center for Business, we got together with a group from the state DOT, and somebody from Blankenbush's office helped us out a little bit. And long story short, we should be able to be offering CDL testing up at that site within the next few weeks. So definitely a positive thing for Lewis County. The schools had a huge shortage of school bus drivers, and the town superintendents were saying they were having a hard time getting their guys qualified for CDL. So that's a good thing for Lewis County. 5 board members and myself were on post at Fort Drum last week for the installation of the new commanding general of the 10th Mountain Division, General Menace. And it was a wonderful ceremony, and I hope that we can build a relationship with General Menace the way we did with General Pyatt. And he will be coming to see us, I think, in August to introduce himself at the board meeting. So we'll all get to a chance to meet him again in August. On Friday at 1 o'clock, there is a graduation ceremony or a certificate ceremony at the new JCC Education Center for the first class that has gone through the Education Center. It was a class of 35 that did a carpentry and construction boot camp, and they did a 6-week course. And at the end of the course, they've all had interviews set up with local contractors, and hopefully we'll have put to work 35 people in our community in the first 3-4 months of the center being open, which is certainly a good thing. So I'm keeping a list to send to JCC of which legislators would like to attend. So if you want to attend, just let me know so I can send that email over to them and make sure everybody's RSVP. May 18th is Armed Forces Day, and with the North Country receiving the Great American Defense Community Award, we are trying to have a regional celebration in Watertown for the Armed Forces Day Parade. They're asking veterans from all over Lewis County, St. Lawrence County, and Jefferson County to come march in the parade and then sit as the guest of honor for the rest of the parade. So they'll march first, then be seated right up front in a special area as the rest of the parade goes by. We've arranged with Lewis County Transportation to have 2 buses that are going to be at the American Legion at 8 o'clock that day on the 18th, 8 in the morning. We will bring people to Watertown and back, and the American Legion told me they could fill 2 buses. So that would be really awesome if Lewis County showed up with 2 bus loads of veterans to come celebrate this award in Watertown. The county auction, property auction is tomorrow at 10 o'clock, right? How many properties? 20. We have 20 properties that will be auctioned off. You guys legislators are more than welcome to attend, although you cannot bid.
17.
Yeah. Let's see. The last Friday, or I guess it was 2 Fridays ago now, we got Cornell Cooperative Extension helped us get a crew together from the dairy industry in Lewis County, and we had a great turnout of people from producers to equipment sales to FarmNet, and we had a great presentation from a dairy economist from Cornell University. And one thing we'd like to do is to try to get that group together, maybe not that exact group, but a group together more consistently to talk about dairy issues in Lewis County. Maybe put together some type of advisory board that meets on a monthly or quarterly basis. So if any of you have any interest in participating in that, let me know, because we're trying to put together the first one in the next, maybe the next month or so. So if you're interested, please let me know. And the last thing I'd like to note is that we are coming up to our 6-month mark with our new committee structure. So June will be the 6th month of the year. The resolution that we originally did to change the standing rules is a 6-month resolution. So the Finance and Rules Committee will be taking this up at their next committee meeting on the 21st. If you have anything you want to add or things that you need to be changed, obviously we can discuss it on the 21st, but it'd be great to have a heads up of some of the things that people are thinking. So either talk to Brian or myself so we can get a list together, or Larry, get a list together of some things that will go into the new standing rules resolution that we'll have to put into place in June. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Questions for Ryan? Dick?
Ryan left out one factor in the visit to Fort Drum. We had 5 legislators out of 10 there. Watertown has 15, they had 2. As a 23-year employee down there, I used to go to those all the time, and all I used to hear was, where's Lewis County? So it did my heart great to see 5 of us down there. We've got some folks that went to the Oktoberfest last fall. It does us well to be represented and to talk to these folks so that we know what's going on. Some of it bore fruit with the windmill situation at Fort Drum by getting them to the table to talk to the developers, and we were able to move that along. There was a pretty good swell, as some of us will remember, against windmills for a while. And so it really doesn't hurt to participate in these things that they got.
Thank you, Dick. I was worried you were going to say it took 5 to do the job too, but it didn't.
I did okay.
County Treasurer report, Patty, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have your balances for the month. Special legislative contingency is $99,942. Regular contingency is $189,575. Capital data processing, $66,873.29. Capital equipment, highway share, $113,623.71. County share, $479,905.43. Sales tax, $2,320,790.81, slightly up from last year. Internal service fund balance, $4,577,219.83. March did have a slight blip, but that was due to high claims. So hopefully next month, will be better, and we did have we will have a 2% increase in June to the premiums of the PPO. And that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Questions for Patty? Good, Patty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Report of the Finance and Rules Committee, Rule 7, Terry.
The Finance and Rules Committee reports they've examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $1,293,080.93 and recommend that they be audited and allow for the amount claimed.
Someone like to move that, please. Brian, second by John. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
First resolution is auditing and allowing the claims in the amount of $1,293,080.93.
Moved by Greg, second by Randy. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Burns,
Yes.
Chartran,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Callser,
Yes.
Lachos,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Mowerhand,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Dahlhoff.
Yes.
Resolution opposing New York State Senate Bill 280-3037, Assembly Bill 2750 of 2019.
Moved by Greg, second by Jerry. Sorry. Discussion got me off track now. John?
Yeah, and that's nothing against farmers, I just don't think this board should be in a position of telling people they can or cannot unionize. I just think that's not why we're here. That's a right of the people who want to unionize. And for that reason, I will oppose this.
Well, that's not the only thing that this
But it's a big part of it.
bill proposes. It's not the only thing
I
though.
know that.
If they separated it, it wouldn't be such a problem.
Nope, I agree
But,
with you.
the way this is written, it's just gonna drive the small farmers further in debt or out of business, one or the other.
Well, correct. I mean, and I understand where they're coming from, but there's so many loopholes that the farmers can get around paying this overtime. All they have to do is put their workers on a salary. It's no different than me as a
could.
truck driver. I can get paid by the hour, I can get paid mileage, or I can get paid by the trip or percentage. So that necessarily doesn't mean they have to pay the overtime. So there is loopholes for the farmers to get around.
There are,
They're
but-
paying, depending on how they wanna do their pay structure, so.
Right, that would mean changing their pay structures.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
so I mean, it's not set
and
in
you're also
stone.
gonna see loss in employees, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see the Latinos, the migrant workers, they want hours. That's how they make their money, they send it back that way.
That's fine, as long as they're here legally, yes.
Yeah. That's, who knows, they can print that document at the farm.
Are we good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Show John and Brian opposed, and Tom. And I'm in favor. Resolution carries.
7-3, John, Brian, and Tom opposed.
Correct.
Thank you. In support of Carthage Federal Savings and Loan Association's application for designation of a banking development district in the Krogan area.
Moved by Brian, second by Randy. Discussion. Dick?
Yeah, I just need a little clarity on this one, because I read in the paper, there's more than just this bank. I think there's 4 banks looking at stuff over there. So, there's just 2 now?
It's a credit union.
That's a
Right.
credit
Well,
union.
okay, bank, when you
Yeah.
throw in the credit union, there's at least 3, right?
There's credit union and Carthage Savings and Loan, that's it.
That's it?
There's a third, I thought.
No.
No?
Okay, the other one dropped out there, so there was There was three.
Who was the third? I haven't heard anything.
I only heard two.
Just two.
Key Bank pulled out.
Key Bank pulled out.
Carthage Savings Loan and Northern Federal Credit Union.
I thought it was Governor Savings Alone, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But anyhow, that's what I wanted, was a little clarity on
I
that,
think
as to,
Card, being that they're not credit union apparently doesn't need this
okay.
from us, but the bank, Carthage Savings Loan does.
So, but if there was another bank,
You would have,
we
if
can
they
do the
want
same
out,
thing
we'd have
for
to do
another
the same
bank.
thing for them.
Okay, that's what I was looking for, thanks.
The way that I understand it.
Yeah, that's fine.
And just so you know with that, both of these banks are dumping a bunch of money into our community over there. Carthage Savings Alone
that's
is
good.
putting up like $20,000 for the American bakeries. And then Northern Federal Credit Union is doing a bunch there too, so.
And didn't the savings and loan get some kind of grant from the state, like seed money too, I think?
Yeah, they might have, I'm not
Something about
sure
that,
about
yeah.
that, Tom, but I know that they're doing a bunch of work over the Make Museum. and everything.
Well, they're renting space there.
They're renting space from them.
Credit union is Marley's also, and I guess they're going to, raise Marley's home, the one in Ingalls, and, Katie used to live, and turn that into parking lot and a loop through drive-through system. That's my understanding.
That's because they found out how much money you had, John, so they put two banks over there.
Apparently he's making too much of the second job.
Well, I heard you helped push them over too.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Big number.
Carried.
Might come from there.
Authorizing intermunicipal agreements between county and towns of Turin and West Turin and villages of Fort Lyden and Constableville for floodplain damage prevention, administration, and enforcement.
Moved by Tom, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing an agreement with ChargePoint for county electric vehicle charging stations and set county fee and oversight policy.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Subcommittee of the CSB.
Moved by Tom, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Subcommittee of the CSB.
Moved by Andrea, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appoint member to Mental Health Subcommittee of the CSB.
Moved by Andrea, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Opposing expansion of driver's license access to undocumented individuals.
Moved by Brian, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Increasing district attorney's salary pursuant to New York State budget mandate and judiciary law.
This is when
Moved by
everybody
Dick, second by Brian. Discussion.
We have no choice.
That's the problem.
Wish the paper would find this and put this right in the paper and on the internet, show how much money that's been over the last 10 years. Because of the state, it's not Leanne's fault, it's the state's fault.
Mandated by the state.
Actually, I do plan to write this one,
Okay.
so I'm with you.
I
was,
keep my mouth shut, but
Yeah.
had a thought, yeah, I can't.
I actually did backup research from 2016 for you, so I got Jen this one.
We'll give him that now and read the whole thing.
Right, but to revisit it.
Have we ever been reimbursed for the funding we've done before that we're supposed to be paid back for?
For which funding, Jerry?
It would have been 2 times ago, that's why, I think it was the 12,000.
Yeah, so they do, the state reimburses us a certain percentage of the DA's salary, but it's capped. And so every time it goes up, it's on us, basically. Yeah.
So what do they reimburse us on that $272,000?
$72,189.
So what if we went
Do
to
you know what the percentage is, Patty? That they you don't know?
Well, it's, the cap is $72,000.
It's $72,000, that's a cap.
That's
Well,
the
then,
cap, 72,000.
If it's that, then why are they dictating any more than that? If they want it, why don't they pick up the full
It's based on the
share?
Supreme Court justices.
Well, we're the 2% tax cap.
I agree, Jerry,
You
I
know,
agree.
We tried bucking
And,
this.
and we gotta find money where we can for the stuff we need to do. We don't need people to help us,
Patty-
that don't live there.
Patty made a suggestion, said something to us at our last Finance and Rules Committee. I mean, that's an option that we could possibly look into.
I think we should look into that.
I think we should. I really do. Huh?
Two part-time.
What's
Well,
the option you're talking about?
Then you could, they can't dictate a part-time DA.
Okay, that's what I asked.
Okay, they can't dictate the salary. You could hire all the assistant DAs you want, and they don't dictate that salary either. So, I mean, and Leanne's doing a great job, but I mean, this would be a way to push back on the state. It really would. You could offer a part-time DA $120,000, hire 2 full-time DAs, and you're still better off than what we are now. Plus, you got an extra full-time person that we don't have now.
Full-time
Assistant DA.
Yeah.
How would you go about that?
As far as I know, I have someone looking into it.
We have a choice.
Yep.
Yeah, we gotta move it forward.
Yeah. We gotta do that by election time.
I was told that it's possible that that could be changed, that full-time could be reduced to part-time as soon as August, I think.
Yeah,
On this election cycle, if we want.
whatever we're gonna, you know, if we
But I mean,
decide-
I don't know if we want to do that.
Right.
I don't think that's fair to,
Right.
I don't think that's fair to Leanne, but still.
That whatever we decide to do, we've got requirement time to.
That's, I mean, something worth looking into.
Well, I think you gotta look at workload.
Yeah, well, I agree,
I mean,
I do.
if the workload's there,
No.
Well, it would still be there, even with 2, right?
Yeah, but what they're saying is,
Yeah.
you could hire 2 full-time assistant DAs, and have a part, you'd end up with
You
more
need the
staff.
person.
You could get more staff, more bang for your buck.
Because right now, you got a full-time DA, a full-time assistant DA, and we got a second assistant DA that can't do anything for us right now. So,
because of where they live.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
but still.
Tied up in legislation.
Right. But you gotta tell us how much we got to pay DA.
I would suggest we look into all this stuff, but
Yeah, no,
we
I-
canceled this a year ago,
Yeah, we
and 2
tried
months
this,
later, we
yeah,
came back and had.
We
the
know we're
vote,
not
so
going anywhere with it, so.
We're gonna have to pay it.
I think it's a topic for our committee meetings to
Yeah,
bring
definitely.
some stuff forward, yeah.
You good?
Get enough information on that, did we?
All in favor?
Aye.
There's nothing.
Show me opposed, Jerry.
I'm opposed.
Me too.
They
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, it didn't pass.
Okay, now
Hold on, hold on.
We better go roll call.
Sorry, maybe sooner or later, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pay
It's
it.
all right, I don't have to give in right away.
That's what we said last.
It's all right,
just shows,
That's fine.
damn.
shows opposition.
No problem.
Okay, roll call, please. Burns.
I'm opposed to the resolution.
Chartran.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Halter.
No.
LaChose.
Opposed.
Lehman.
No.
Mowerhand.
No.
Bosier.
No.
Osborne.
No.
Dalhoff.
No.
Resolution
That's one of our, yeah.
That's
And I'll vote no.
Imagine what if everyone got a 400% increase all the time. We'd all be rich.
Some cars. That discussion was had earlier, wasn't it?
It's a tough crowd here tonight, isn't
And
it?
so in reality, there should be 4 banks in Cronin, just so you know.
Funds, emergency management,
Yes.
to appropriate funds, emergency
Okay.
management.
I didn't hear you, sorry. Moved by John, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There, we got through that one, motion carries.
Authorizing implementation and funding in the first instance of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry, his hand up, I had to jump on it. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, bridge over West Creek.
Moved by John, second by Tom, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement between DOT and Highway Department for reimbursement of funds for culvert replacement, shoulder embankment, Burdick's Crossing Road.
Moved by Tom, second by Randy, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing memorandum of understanding between the county and the highway for property owners for use of their properties to store equipment and materials for culvert project.
Moved by Jerry, second by Andrea, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, Transportation Department.
Moved by John, second by Brian, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, Transportation Department.
Moved by Ron, second by Andrea, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
To transfer funds, Highway Department.
Moved by Brian, second by Greg, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Amending compensation plan with reference to the hospital.
Moved by Dick, second by John, discussion. All in
Dick,
favor?
what's this do? Just, they don't need as much training to replace, is that?
Well, we've never, along with the other hospitals in Jefferson and Lewis County, been able to fully our CNAs.
Right.
So some of the other hospitals in the state have started this helper program. They can't go directly to the patient, but they can relieve some of the duties that the CNAs now have to do, and they can, so the bottom line is it's gonna provide more patient care from the people who provide patient care.
Okay.
And actually save a little bit of money because the salary for this is a little less than the
Okay.
CNAs.
And then the vision is that it's easier to get the helpers than it would be the certified nurses.
That's our goal going into it.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Clarifying the management of the full-time keyboard specialist shared by Human Resources and Community Services.
Moved by John, second by Jerry, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing memorandum of understanding on behalf of Information Technology with Industrial Development Agency and the Chambers for Internet and Telephone Service.
Moved by Ron, second by Tom, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
To set a public hearing to obtain input with reference to Office of Community Renewal Grant application for study on potential reuses of decommissioned schools.
Moved by Tom, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To rescind Resolution 492 of 2018 and authorize agreement between Public Health and New York State Department of Health for the rabies program.
Moved by John, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreements between Public Health, the Village Police, Level Academy, and the hospital to provide on-site security logistics for preparedness, large-scale communicable disease outbreak.
Moved by Andrea, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To transfer funds, real property tax.
Moved by Tom, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, Sheriff's Department.
Moved by Brian, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Andrea Keneally.
Moved by Jerry, second by Dick. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Brenda Leonard.
Moved by Greg, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Ruth Wormwood.
Moved by Greg, second by Randy. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To appropriate funds, social services.
Moved by Jerry, second by John. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Standard workday and reporting resolution.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing agreement with Page Group and Lewis County Planning for the Lewis County Public Transportation System.
Moved by Ron, second by Tom. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing section 5311 consolidated federal and state funding grant application for transportation system.
Moved by Ron, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
To transfer funds, enterprise vehicle leases.
Moved by Jerry, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing distribution to certain villages to assist in water infrastructure expenses and improvement costs.
Moved by Dick, second by Randy. Discussion.
Yeah, Larry, how come Diane or Herschel isn't included in this? Is there a reason? Is their water system?
Do they have any water infrastructure that's outside the village
It's gotta
limits?
be, well, it's got the village anymore, so the town.
So it's gotta be outside of the taxing jurisdiction, John.
Is that what it's for?
Yeah.
Okay,
And it was in the village, so it's definitely in the town.
okay, good.
Now, next year, that may be
I didn't
different.
understand how it works.
No, because if it was in the village, it's gotta be in the town.
It's gotta be
There's no village anymore.
Right, the town's got it now.
The village was located within the town.
Yeah. Sorry.
Was it really? Well, I didn't understand the way it was written there. what it
They
meant.
were close to this at
Are
one
they?
time, when Phil was on the board, remember he talked about it, that somebody donated or sold some land or something to
Yeah.
get it back in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
close.
But it's gotta be outside of that jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing renewal agreement between Sealer Weights and Measures and New York State Department of Ag and Markets.
Moved by Ron, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing a road agreement by and between the county, town of Harrisburg, Lavelle, and the village of Lavelle, and number 3 Wing LLC.
Moved by John, second by Jerry. Discussion?
All the people that are concerned in this support this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just the,
Yes.
rule.
This is the finalization, okay, good.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Transfer funds, Workforce Investment Opportunity Act.
Moved by Ron, second by Andrea. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Reappointing committee members to Lewis County Youth Bureau Advisory Board.
Moved by Randy, second by Tom. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Resolution 167, the purchase of hospital parking lot parcel currently leased by the county for the hospital from the Eugene Renzi Reputable Trust.
Moved by John, second by Dick. Discussion.
I just have a question. We're paying $300,000 for a piece of property that's valued at $280,000.
This is a hospital issue. The hospital is the one doing the purchasing here, right? Jerry, would you like to address this?
Mr. Chairman, just so I can clarify for me before Mr. Pryor speaks, the county has to own any real property. The hospital, Lewis County General Hospital cannot own the property, the county would hold it. But it is something that the hospital has requested that the board approve, so I'll let Mr. Pryor continue.
So in the fall of 2018, our CFO indicated to me that the current lease arrangement with the owner was soon to expire. So it was going to expire at the end of calendar year 2018. So I asked for a review of how much we had spent in payments over the course of the leases over time. And through December, we had spent $358,000 in lease payments. So we initiated an appraisal of the property and have been in negotiations with the family over that period of time. And we are currently up to approximately $30,000 a year right now in payments. And so it seemed to make some sense to pursue purchase. The parking lot is one of our main parking lots. It's landlocked. So its value is really driven by our lease payment to the owner. So the hospital board, executive committee, finance committee, and full board have been kept appraised of this situation over time. So it seemed appropriate to bring it forward. We have the resources to pay for it. So that the value that we have paid over time in reaching a selling price with the owner is how we got to the selling price. Did that answer your question, Tom?
Yeah, it does, and I know I know that it's needed, but it just seemed strange to me that we're paying $300,000 and it was appraised for $200,000.
Can I speak to that? Because I'm the one that negotiated the sale on behalf of the hospital. The doctor and his wife have owned the property for over 50 years. They paid a minuscule amount of money for it. If they sell it now while they're alive, they're going to pay a substantial capital gains tax. And for that reason, they do not want to sell the property. In order for us to be able to convince them to sell it, we unfortunately have to pay what they're going to pay in taxes. I'd also note that that is our appraisal. They, when they began negotiations, were at $400,000 because they feel the property's worth much more. Obviously, we, the hospital, is the only person that's interested in it. It is our main parking lot for our visitors, and we could stop paying the lease, but then we would have to find other places. But the doctor, in order to incentivize the family to get rid of it, to sell it, we needed to work out a deal with them. quite frankly, they wanted us to continue to run it for a couple more years before the family would think about selling. But that would have raised the price even more. So that's the reason why we're paying the money. I mean, it's life. I mean, they were looking at a tax bill of over $70,000.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Joyce Hill.
Moved by Randy, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Authorize closing a portion of the West Road in the town of Turin during the Mow Down concert event.
Moved by John, second by Ron. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
Mr. Chairman, would you want me to read the proclamations or?
Sure.
Wait. Proclamation, whereas the family serving as the primary source of love, identity, self-esteem, and support is the very foundation of our communities and our nation. In Lewis County, in the state of New York, there are children and youth in foster care being provided with a safe, secure, and stable home, along with compassion and nurturing a foster family. All young people in foster care need a meaningful connection to a caring adult who becomes a supportive and lasting presence in their lives. Foster, kinship, and adoptive families who open their homes and hearts and support children whose families are in crisis play a vital role in helping children and families heal and reconnect thereby launching young people into successful adulthood. Dedicated foster families frequently adopt foster children, resulting in a greater need for more foster families. There are numerous individuals, public and private organizations who work to increase public awareness of the needs of children in and living in foster care, as well as the enduring and valuable contribution of foster parents, and the foster care system is only as good as those who choose to be part of it. Now therefore, I, Lauren Stahlhoff, Chairman of the Board, do hereby proclaim May as Foster Parent Recognition Month in Lewis County, and urge all citizens to come forward and do something positive that will help change a lifetime for children and youth in foster care. I further recognize and thank Lewis County foster parents for their commitment and dedication to our foster children. There's another proclamation to declare May as Mental Health Month in Lewis County. Mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being. All Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental illnesses. There is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that all Americans can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being. Mental illnesses are real and prevalent in our nation. With early and effective treatment, those individuals with mental illnesses can recover and lead full, productive lives. Each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental illnesses and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. I, Lauren Stahlhoff, on behalf of the board, do hereby proclaim May 2019 as Mental Health Month in Lewis County, and call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Lewis County to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to prevent their mental health or protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illnesses at all stages, especially stage 4. We have a proclamation in honor of National Hospital Week, May 12 to 18. Official theme of is celebrating hope and healing. And whereas individuals all across the country will be celebrating this time-honored event, the hard-working people that compose our hospitals deserve universal regard and appreciation for keeping our community healthy. Be it known that on the 13th day of May, the Board of Legislators will declare May 12th to 18th to be Hospital Week in Lewis County and urge residents to express their appreciation for the people, facilities, and technologies that make trustworthy, reliable healthcare possible in our community. Another proclamation to declare May 12 through May 18 as National Skilled Nursing Care Week. In the County of Lewis, we recognize the dedicated, competent, and caring healthcare workers that are employed at the Lewis County Residential Healthcare Facility. We dedicate this week to pay special honor for their service to our community. One last proclamation, National Economic Development Week. The International Economic Development Council is the largest professional economic development organization dedicated to serving economic developers. The International Council provides leadership and excellence in economic development for communities, members, and partners through conferences, training courses, advisory services and research, in-depth publications, public policy advocacy, and initiatives such as the Accredited Economic Development Organization program and the Certified Economic Developer designation. Economic developers promote well-being and quality of life for their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. Economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. Economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, provincial, and federal governments, public-private partnerships, chambers of commerce, universities, and a variety of other institutions. Economic developers attract and retain high-quality jobs, develop vibrant communities, and improve the quality of life in their regions. Economic developers work in the County of Lewis, and on behalf of the Board of Legislators, I, Chairman Dahlhoff, do hereby proclaim May 6th through 11th as National Economic Development Week in the County of Lewis, and remind individuals of the importance of this community recognition, which supports the expansion of career opportunities and improving quality of life.
Thank you, Terry.
Mr. Chairman, I was requesting executive session to update the board on 3 litigation matters.
I have a motion to enter executive session. Tom, second by Jerry, discussion.